First of all, give him a round of applause for diverting from the Cesar Gonzalez joint. You're pretty good, but you ain't better than me. You're pretty good, but you ain't better. You did the biggest diversion in the world. Let's go back this way because you didn't want to mention people, and I respect that. I can respect that. You know, you're a cop, and you know well you was, and you know, but some honor to you because I was about to get you. But you played it well. You went back like that. I'm just letting you know I peep everything, Derrick.
Yeah.
I peep. Yeah.
He's in the culture right now. He crushed
you
over.
You talking about the guy that went to the police? I just googled this guy. Actually, he was a drug dealer out there in 1994. They got you know. I just googled him. So
I'm telling you about real people.
Yeah, you are. But I saw what you just did. I'm on.
Some names I got to protect the innocent.
I respect this. So the cold case. You solved a lot of murders in the cold case?
Yes.
So then what's the transition to what's next?
Okay, the chief got me because, okay, here's we get into the nitty gritty. Mm-hmm. Tupac and Biggie. When Tupac got killed first, I had told my section boss, he was Inspector Amundsen, I said, look, this is a problem. And he's like, Derrick, they don't kill people in rock and roll. This is not your job, stay out of it. You're doing cold case murders. This happened in the West Coast. I said, Inspector, this is going to come back to us. This is a war about to start. I was monitoring it from the start because I already talked to some people I knew, people that were telling me things, informants. I already knew it was up. So I said, okay. I remember Angie Martinez crying on Hot 97 when Tupac got killed because I was home. I was listening to her, and I felt sad, you know, that this had to happen like that. But I knew it was on Las Vegas. It wasn't in my jurisdiction. But so what happens, I had called to Vegas and spoke with them and told them about the case, but the Vegas detectives didn't really know much at the time. And they didn't trust the police. Not me, sort of say, but they didn't want to trust LAPD. Not LAPD, I think Inglewood PD. Let's put it that way. Or possibly guys in the LA Police Department, LAPD. So Tupac gets killed. It's a big case. I went out to Vegas the next year. There was a fight with Mike Selden, I think, and Mike Tyson at the MGM. So they wanted me to come down. Some people knew who I was. They were like, Derrick, let me try to remember this clearly now. I'm trying to think if this was after Biggie or before Biggie. I think it was after Tupac. I went down to Vegas, and we had a team set up. It was Washington, D.C. detectives, me for NYPD, I had Oakland ATF, LAPD, Detroit Homicide, New Jersey guy, one or two New Jersey guys, I think, and somebody else, the FBI guys. So we were all in like a team. And it was exciting because, you know, the fight was going on. And then I saw Lieutenant Fancy from NYPD Blue talking to him, you know, joking around. But they stopped Steven Seagal at the gate. Say, Parker, get over here, man. We got a problem. Because I was like one of the team leaders. So I go over, and they have Steven Seagal pinned up, and they're giving him a hard way to go. He had his Indian coat on, and he was standing there, and he's like, yo, where you from? And everybody started announcing what areas they expertise and where they work. Who are you? I said, I'm NYPD. Let me talk to you on the side. You know Ralphie Cefarello? I said, yeah, I know Ralphie. He goes, Ralphie's my guy. He goes, Parker, what's going on here? I only deal with you guys at NYPD. I don't trust these guys. And this guy from Oakland ATF, I don't like him because he wanted Steven Seagal a gun, and he wanted to lock him up. So I was like, listen, we're not down there for this. You heard what happened with Tupac, right? Yeah, we're down here on another case. So we're looking for some people that might show up, and we're out here hunting for them. If they come through the gates, we got guys everywhere. So he's like, well, this got nothing to do with me. I said, no, it doesn't. So apparently what happened was that I talked to the guys, we let Seagal go because he had an LAPD cop with him. Let him go.
Saved him.
Yeah, we saved him. Let him go. Because we're not here for him, you know? So we locked up 2 guys in a hotel from Washington, D.C. that committed a double murder. We got them. We had another guy from Detroit come through with a gun. We got him. And then it was a good night because nobody got hurt. Nobody got injured. There was no unrest. And we got some of the people. We didn't get everything we wanted, but we did find some people that we wanted to talk to about Tupac's murder and stuff like that. And we talked to them. And then that was the end of it. I think we got some pieces. I teamed up with a lieutenant out there who's a detective, he's a lieutenant now. And he was giving me all the information about L.A. He goes, Derrick, you see this thing, 666? That's the mob ties with the blood. That's a blood phone right there. Because it was a pay phone with 666 on it. It was a blood phone. And then I became friends with him in Vegas, so we were always sharing stuff like what happened in the case. And then I had a friend in LAPD who was sharing things with me about LA. He was about the studio time where all the rappers go. He was in the Tarzana area. And this guy was scared to death. He didn't want to even be mentioned in anything. He was giving me pictures of Suge and Biggie, Puffy. You know, Suge was really against Puffy at the time. He had a lot of like things that were out there about him. You know, they were always this rift that was going on between, you know, Bad Boy and Death Row. Yeah. So I came back to New York, and of course the boss was like, Derrick, you know, what's going on with all this? You know, I gave him a briefing of what's going on, and things were calm. Then Biggie gets killed. I said to my inspector, this is a problem. Derrick, I'm telling you, stay out of this. This has got nothing to do with us. I go, I'm telling you right now, this is coming back to New York. So the commissioner, I think Eddie Nara, said, I need Derrick down here. We got a problem. So they summoned me to One Police Plaza. And, you know, when you go down there, you're like, oh, shit, I better have all my P's and Q's together. I'm going to see the big bosses.
Yeah.
So they're like, Derrick, the chief came out with the commissioner. We got a problem. They're making death threats at the funeral home for burying Biggie up in the Frank Campbell Funeral Home. We got all these death threats against Faith, Little Kim. We need you to get on top of this. So they signed me to the funeral detail for 2 weeks. I was up there every day. My lieutenant was being really tough on me at the time. He was like, why are you leaving cold case and going up there? My inspector was mad too. You're not helping us any. You're not solving any more murders. You're up there working on this. So the chief got mad at them. And he goes, I'm a 2-star chief. Derrick's up here with me. Do you understand? Don't call him again. Click. So I was like, this is going to be problems with me when I get back to my office. My boss is going to be mad. So I stayed there for a long time because I had to make sure that nobody got killed up there. When Biggie's body came in, I was with the detectives from the 19th. The body came to the funeral home. I was there in the funeral parlor looking at the body with them. And we were talking about it. And they're like, Derrick, you're the big dog here. What's going on with this? I said, this is a lot going on, bro. You guys don't even know half of it, what's going on with this.
Did they know that Orlando killed Tupac back in the days?
I knew it. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to say this something. Yeah, I know you're going to say this too. Don't go to the closet.
Don't go.
All right.
Now let me
But
go.
what happened, here's what happened with Tupac.
Keep it real, Derrick, with me. Let me get something.
I'm going to try to keep this real with you. The guy from Tarzana and me were friends. And he was a cop there. I was a detective in New York. We became friends, and he was sending me correspondence from L.A. to New York. We found the white Cadillac that Orlando Anderson was in. It was us that found that Cadillac. We were the ones that gave it back to L.A. I gave it back. He said, Derrick, I got to give this over to the robbery homicide guys or Vegas because you and I identified the Cadillac. Because we knew it was a white four-door, I don't know if it was a Sevan DeVille, whatever it was. The caddy he had came up somehow. And he and I put 2 and 2 together, and we had to notify Vegas about it. So that was a big thing. And then we were just in touch with each other, but he wanted not to get too involved. He was a little fearful, like a lot of these rappers and what the ties they had to the police. Because back then there was a lot of corruption in L.A. with the LAPD. And Vegas was even scarce about LAPD and Inglewood PD. That was a big, big problem. You see, so this became a big, big problem when it went down. And, you know, when Tupac's case came up and people felt it was retaliation, when Biggie got killed for Tupac, now it became not a chess game, but it became a puzzle that needed to be put together, so to say.
And you knew that Orlando killed him.
I knew that, yes. Orlando was in the car with 3 other guys. And to the day, from what I know right now, 3 of them, Orlando and 2 others are dead. The only guy that's still alive is Keefe D. He was one of the guys in the car, but he's still around.
And where is he?
In L.A. Probably chilling.
So, but Orlando was the trigger man, yes?
Yes. In my opinion, and from what I discovered, yes, it was him.
So you found the car, you gave it to them. You found out about the car and gave it to them. We don't know how a guy from New York finds out, but we can get into that later. Right. So you found out about the car, you gave it to them, and you mean to tell me, back when they died, you knew the guy Orlando did it?
Yes. Telling you, I knew. He was there. We had the videotape from the MGM.
Okay.
We knew about the fight.
That's a
we
fact.
knew that they stomped him out, and that Suge Knight went back with Tupac. We saw the video where they stomped out Orlando, and because he had the beef with Tupac, so he went back, and they took his chain. Somebody, I think was it Tupac's chain? I'm trying to remember. Back in those days, a long time ago. But they stomped him out, and Orlando was a Crip. Mm-hmm. And remember, he was the nephew, I think, of Keefe D. I think he was related to Keefe or somebody. He was the nephew of somebody. So he went back and got his crew, and they waited. There was a planned attempt hit on Tupac that was going to take place because they were going to get him and Suge for what happened at the MGM. That's how it all started.
So, wait, hold on. So, my thing is that why? Okay, so that's how it all started. So, where do you think that they thought that when Biggie got killed, that it was a retaliation for Tupac? How did all that become a crossfire?
There was
who? How can? Yeah. Breathe heavy, because I'm gonna ask you about stack bundles too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get you. Yeah, I know a lot about that. You think I don't know? I was a close friend of mine.
Yeah.
How can the system cause such a mix-up? Because now you have to look within. Now you got to look within and see if that was intentionally done.
Okay.
Because now Orlando was a guy from out there, and they had their beef. First of all, I don't know if he killed him, but I don't know personally. But I'm just talking about what I read. He's from out there. That's a whole situation where he took the chain at a mall a while ago, and then they caught him and they jumped him. Yes.
Yes.
So now, fast forward, that's a whole LA situation. Now, when Biggie gets killed, how do they tie the whole thing and try to make it?
I'll make this real.
It's like dirty. It's dirty system. It's a dirty system.
Okay. Remember this: Las Vegas is a transient city. Everybody goes to Vegas not really to live, but to hang out and party. Right? Can we all agree on that?
Yeah. Break it down to me.
So the bad guys either come from a couple places, L.A., right? Mm-hmm. Maybe New York, maybe other places, but they're not from Vegas. Okay, Vegas is the transient spot where everybody goes to. When Tupac gets killed, right, in Las Vegas, the guys that did it were Crips from Los Angeles, right? Orlando's tied to Crips, Los Angeles. Now, when Biggie gets killed in L.A., the guys that kill him are Bloods, right? There's a blood tie there.
Okay, yeah.
So, I don't know if you guys knew this. When Biggie got killed, there were about 13 to 15 homicides. I might be exaggerating a little. When he got killed, there was such a war between the Crips and the Bloods out in L.A., and a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people got killed. I remember that. There was a shootout where I was talking back and forth with LAPD, and they were telling me, hey, we got 3 more homicides. This guy got killed. This guy got killed. It was a war going on. Right now, there were a couple of tangible problems that were happening. First of all, we know that in the Tupac case, the bad guys are from L.A. In the Biggie case, the guys are from L.A. Everything points back to L.A. Follow what I'm saying? Okay.
I'm with you on the train.
You got Suge, who hated Puffy with Bad Boy. They had their issues. Then you got the Crips and you got the Bloods. Now, there was supposedly, there was always, whenever you investigate theories of cases and homicides, there's always a lot of different factors that come up. One of the things came up was there were protection money paid to the Crips for Biggie while he was in Los Angeles, because he knew that he had problems with Suge and other people because of the East Coast West Coast feud that was going on. And it all really started basically when Jake Robles got killed by Wolf in Atlanta in 95, I think. So it just perpetuated itself and it became really big. A lot of rappers could not go to different cities without paying homage to other guys. And, I don't think you guys probably know this. You can't walk into a city and be with your crew promoting concerts and things like that without having somebody from that city on your side. Because you need protection. You need people to look out for you while you're in that city. Because think about it. You go to LA and you're a big rapper, you don't want to tell everybody what you're doing because people are going to get at you. They don't like you. I don't like that dude, man. And, I'm going to get at him. His music, his lyrics, where he's from, who he's rolling with. Pop Smoke is a perfect example of that. But going back to...
No, slow down.
I know. So going back to the case, everybody was from L.A. So this was an L.A. problem. It wasn't a New York problem. Well, it was a New York problem, somewhat, because there was protection money supposedly that came up in the case that was being paid for the Crips to provide protection with Biggie and them. There was somebody said there was somebody reneged on the payment. That money was supposed to be paid. It didn't get paid, and that was a problem while the Crips had a problem. Now they weren't going to protect Biggie anymore, and things were going to happen. Now, the blood faction of it was Suge. Suge believed that when the case went down in Vegas with Orlando, that the Crips that were involved were set or were tied to possibly this connection that might have got involved in the shooting of Tupac. So there were a lot of different theories going on back then with a lot of different things. Like, you have to rule out everything that goes on. Okay, well, is this the real story or is this BS? Mm-hmm. Now, there was a guy here in New York, well, he's deceased now, but he did have ties to L.A. He was big time. And I won't mention his name right now.
Why not? He passed away.
No, I don't want to bring it out because it'll open up some wounds with people. But anyway, I'll just say this.
Where was he from?
Harlem. So,
what year he passed?
I ain't going to say. You're trying to get it out of me. I'm not going to say.
Come on, man.
Let me just tell you the story.
What did they start with?
I can't tell you that.
Damn.
You don't know
good. That's good.
But anyway, the guy had ties. How did he get ties? Because, again, I was on the phone with LAPD. I had all his cars, where he lived in L.A., where he traveled, everything on it, his pictures, everything. So when I had all his information, he was, when the homicide occurred to Biggie, it went to 2 black detectives from the Wilshire division. The only problem with them, they were nice guys, but they didn't know anything about hip-hop. When they came to New York, I had to take them around to interview Little C's, Little Kim, Big D, all of them, because they didn't know anybody, They were really nice guys, but the problem I had, too, there was a detective here in New York that went out, and he was following Biggie before he got killed. And me and this guy, I never cared for him. He was always like this conceited type guy, major case guy that knew what he knew, and I don't need your help. I'm doing this on my own. But he was out there, and then the detectives out there felt, Derrick, how can we trust you? You had a dude from New York, man. He wasn't sharing information with us. So why would you share information with us? I was the one, again, who put the 6-pack together. A 6-pack is a photo array of people possibly involved in this case when Biggie got killed. Because I worked with the detectives to try to get them pictures and everything of what they needed from here. So back then, the case went from them to robbery homicide, which is their big elite unit. Mm-hmm. So Detective Pools passed away, and Miller. Mm-hmm. They had the case, but those guys weren't go-getters. Like, I was a little annoyed with them because I had held this guy out here, this big-time dude. I had the FBI pick him up and follow him from Jersey. So when I brought him in, I was in the Southern District, and that was my office in Manhattan. And he's like, yo, man, this ain't no police station. I said, nah, man. And then, listen, when his lawyer called, the U.S. attorney said, Derrick, you know who his attorney is? This guy, Breitbart, he only represents big-time people. What do you have here? I said, well, I got a kingpin, or a guy who's big. So I had talked to this guy, and, he didn't snitch. I'll get that straight with you right now. He didn't tell. He didn't snitch on anybody. He wanted to talk to me, but he says, Parker, I can't, man. He goes, you know so much about me. I knew his girls, or the barbershops, beauty salons he owned, who he was tied to. Remember, I do my homework. So I let the girls come in and get his money, his jewelry. I said, look, I got to take him in for an old warrant. But you could take his jewelry and his money, because the girls were happy to see him. He was taking care of them.
What was the lawyer name?
Breitbart.
Who?
Breitback or Breitbart, something like that.
Bright?
Like Breitbart, something like that.
You're saying it too fast.
Bright, like bright, Bart.
Okay. Bark.
Bart, B-A-R-T.
Okay.
But anyway, the lawyer was a big time dude. He's trying to figure this out. So anyway, the guy, he wouldn't snitch. He wouldn't talk. And he said, look, I can't, man. I just can't. Derrick, I'm in too big with a lot of people, man. And he was. He had connections here in New York and in L.A. and everywhere in Atlanta. He was a well-known dude. So, but I respected him. I treated him like a gentleman. Mm-hmm. He said, you were the nicest dude I ever met, man. You treated me like a gentleman. You let my girls come in. He had some beautiful girls. Most dudes have nice-looking girls anyway that are up his stature, Mm-hmm. And they would come pick up the jewelry and the money and everything else. And I let him give him a kiss goodbye. And I said, he'll be out in a day or two, whatever. Because I didn't need him. But when I got him picked up, he was just like, yo, man, I can't believe you had the FBI come and get me. He goes, I know the helicopter you rode in. He's like, yo, how did you know so much about me? You know, I said, I know you drive this truck. You know, I knew everything about him. So he was very surprised. But you know what? We became not friends, but we became respectful of each other.
Right.
You know, he had the streets. I had the law behind me, law enforcement. But we became, you know, cool with each other on that level. Like, one day I went up to Harlem to see him, and I remember some dudes came into the front door and like, yo, who you here to see, son? And they all like surrounded me. And I said, tell your boss it's me. And he came out and said, no, let him in. You know? And I saw him. But he wouldn't snitch. He said, D, I'm from the streets. I can't do that, bro. I don't snitch. And he didn't.
So, Mr. Bart, he represented like John Gotti and them, the mob, yeah?
Big guys.
Yeah, Nicky Barnes.
Yeah, Nicky was big back in those days.
Yeah, he represented somebody else too, huh?
He represented a lot of people.
I mean, but the big drug dealer from Harlem that we're talking about, he represented him as well, yes?
He represented a lot of people.
Oh, don't get nervous. Look at nervous. What you The big guy he represented, yes?
He represented a lot of people.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he did. I found him. He's been doing law for 40 years, over 40 years.
He was paid very well for his services, the lawyer. You know, listen, when you get a lawyer like that, you're paying him money, so... But anyway, to move right along, let's move on to more important stuff.
Okay.
So after that, it was like I said, the Greg Kading later on he came involved in the case, but the case passed to Fred Miller after the two black detectives, Jackson and Edwards. That was their name. They were really nice guys, and then Fred Miller and Poole had it. Then it went to my friend Stevie Katz. Okay. Stevie came here, but Stevie got caught up in this big thing with holding information. I don't know what happened. And then Mrs. Wallace sued LAPD and got $1 million or something. There was a whole big mix-up with that, a whole big hang-up. I don't think, from what I know about Steve, I don't think it was intentionally done. I think it was a lot of politics involved back then because remember, you had dirty cops involved. Russell Poole, and I'm going back to Tupac and Biggie again. Russell Poole was on this crusade to get these cops. There was a cop, I don't know if you know, who got shot. They killed a cop who was bodyguarding Suge Knight in L.A.
Okay.
Then after that, because you all saw this on TV anyway, then after that, there was two other cops that were doing bank robberies with Suge, and they were involved, all right? There were two other cops. So Poole was on this crusade that he was out to get these corrupt cops, and the mayor's daughter was involved with these hip-hop. Everybody got involved in hip-hop, whether you were a celebrity, a lawyer, a mayor, a kid. Hip-hop was taking over the world back then. And a lot of people got involved. You had big-time lawyers, everybody, pretty much. So the big problem was when that case happened, I got back to New York, and then, my bosses were like, Derrick, this is a big problem. When we did the funeral, I rode in a car with the people. We went through Manhattan from the funeral home to Brooklyn. People tried to turn my car over when I was driving with the LAPD guys inside. It was a crazy situation the way we drove to, because we went to Brooklyn. But the chief saw me. He's like, Derrick. I said, Chief, get these people back, man. We got to get to the neighborhood. We're going to the burial site. Or I think Biggie was he cremated? Is he cremated? Yeah, he's cremated. So we were going to go to the site. We had the LAPD detectives. We had a big caravan of people following. We had the SWAT team with us. They were following us to make sure nothing happened to us. We were going. So my boss said, look, Derrick, this big case, you're going to be assigned to Rap Intel. And you're going to go to, because you said you're getting a lot of flack from your bosses and other people that they're getting mad at me, and I'm the chief of the department. I got 4 stars. That's how he spoke to me. You're getting a lot of flack, a lot of people giving you a hard way to go because your bosses are mad that I'm pulling you. Well, guess what? Now you're transferred. You work for me directly. So you end the commissioner. My lieutenant, let me tell you something. He was like, Derrick, I don't want to know these people, man. He goes, these people up there. He said, in Xerox, the middle manager never meets the president of the company. He goes, do you ever notice that? And here, you know all these guys. You had history with them back when they were like captains and stuff, and they're all chiefs. And my lieutenant was hiding one day. The biggest thing that happened that was pretty much pissed the commissioner off, Carrick, was a shooting at Hot 97 with Little Kim. I was in Vegas with The Rock. I was moonlighting, on my vacation time, bodyguarding The Rock. And we were backstage in WWE. He said, Derrick, they just shot up Hot 97? I said, yeah, I just got 5 calls from people in the street. So I knew the chief was going to call me next. Derrick, where you at? Vegas. Your fun time's over. Get back to New York. We'll have somebody pick you up from the airport. What flight you coming on? You coming right to One Police Plaza. The commissioner wants this now. I was like, oh, man. So I got to come on vacation short. I'm on the plane. They pick me up. Right to police headquarters. Carrick pulls out in the car. I'll never forget this. Derrick, get over here. My lieutenant was with me. He was trying to hide. He's a white guy. He can't hide. So the commissioner's like, I want these motherfuckers. You understand me? I want these fuckers. I want you to catch all of them. I want everybody involved. Did you see the video? Get with the chief of detectives. I don't care how much it costs or what it takes. I want them. Yes, sir. My lieutenant was like this. Why is that guy hiding? I said, he's not hiding, Commissioner. He doesn't know you. Because I knew the commissioner. He's like, my lieutenant was so scared and so nervous. I never forget. He was like, Derrick, I don't want to know these people, man. So I had to go upstairs, and the chief and I sat down, and then they wanted to create a binder. Derrick, this hip-hop industry is getting out of control. I want you to create a binder with these rappers and their pedigree information so we can disseminate it through the department. I said, Chief, I don't think that's a good idea because I have no access to the Banana or the Colombo crime families. You can't even get into those folders. I need a lock and key to get into that or permission. So the rap industry should be treated the same because you have affluent people. These rappers got big money, politics, lawyers. I think it should be the same. So he was like, no, we got to get this done. This little Kim thing is a big problem right now. I knew everything that happened. So I'm just telling you guys all the problems. You don't know all the problems that happened. There were 2 detectives. One female hated me. I didn't like her either.
What's her name?
My God.
I
can't remember her name. She worked in the 6th Squad.
You like this?
She worked in the 6th Squad. She came up with these two other yo-yos, and they were sitting there telling the chief, yo-yos, they were telling the chief that this is a rap war and this is what happened. I go, no, nothing could be further from the truth. I got the whole story, and I was in Vegas. I said, this has happened between Capone, Noriega, and Foxy and all of them. They all went down there, and they got into this big dispute. Hot 97 is supposed to be sacred ground. And they got into a shootout. The biggest thing that was the problem was the woman with the baby carriage going across the street. The commissioner was pissed about that. These animals have no right to be down there shooting with a woman in the street. I don't know if he referred to them as animals, but he was pretty pissed at them. He called them a lot of names. But he goes, they're shooting and right in the middle of broad daylight. And the woman had a baby carriage. She was pushing it. Hot 97 took a lot of flack, too, for that. Because
of course
they were going to get evicted. There was a whole bunch of problems on. They had to change their whole way of doing business. But the Kim case was big, and the chief was like, I don't care. Then everything just started to happen, man. Shooting in Queens, Noriega and Capone got involved in something. I had to go out to Queens. Then I had to go to, this guy got killed. This guy was involved with rap music. Then it was shootings. Like the chief said, some of these rap people in this community are victims. They're perpetrators. And what's going on with this community? Why are they shooting and robbing? Why are we getting so many cases around in all these different precincts? I was going from precinct to precinct to precinct.